All right, here we are. There you are. It's Thursday, July 24th, 2025. We'd like to send our condolences to the family of former wrestling legend Hulk Hogan, who died today. Um, I don't even know what else to say. I just felt like I had to throw that in there because,
That was a surprise.
Yeah, I know. Hulkamania, brother? Like what? I mean, I found myself like listening to his theme song on my computer, while I was working and, I am a real American. All right, that's all. All right, so Boca Raton, things are happening as usual. Another day, another protest. You have residents calling for the pause of Boca's huge redevelopment plan. The one that we have done several videos on now that is going to reshape the landscape of downtown Boca Raton, specifically the government district. I mean, we're talking $1 billion development deal. I mean, this isn't just some, touch-up thing going on. So obviously the question is, what the heck is going on with residents in the area? It's not like they're building on, wetlands or something. There isn't a huge redistribution of the layout here. I mean, it's something that as frankly, we feel like it's needed to happen for some time because, you date back to the 90s. You have Meisner Park. That looks very nice and has been well maintained. Right next to it now, you have the Brightline station, which is intended to bring more people in, spend a day checking out Meisner Park or wherever else. I think that's great. Then you add this huge government campus that is right next to the Brightline station on the other side, and you think to yourself, wow, here is a community that is really thinking ahead and trying to push this community forward in the 21st century. But no, Larry, that's too easy. Let's not make sense here. No, we have these 30 acres of downtown land that's going to be transformed, and there are people fighting it. What's going on?
We were pretty excited about this.
I know it looks great.
Yeah, it looks awesome. There's a Facebook page called Save Boca.
Yeah, because it's going away.
Boca. What's up?
Because it's going away. I mean, we're losing Boca.
Boca's gone. It's gone.
Like at least Nickel Forest and Boynton, I understood, but this I don't. I don't.
So I saw posts of some things on here.
A chair turned over.
Yeah, I was actually trying to find some other stuff. So here's the signs you'll see. If you see these signs, you know what they're about now. This is what it's about. There's supposedly 1,000 petitions signed. The reality is things are already moving, right? This is already happening. But there is a vote on October 28th,
really,
which will determine the fate.
I see the petition has 1,000 signatures, which I'm not going to lie to you, Larry, that doesn't really impress me. Like, oh man, they're coming out of the woodwork to stop this thing. 1,000 signatures. I know there's more people in Boca than that.
Yeah, if they start showing up in places, it's 500 people or 300 people, a lot of people, for Boca.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no question when everybody's gathered around. But I'm on a petition, I'm sorry.
I've seen some of the
oftentimes. Yeah, it's like I just picture paper being passed around the classroom and everybody's going to sign it.
So this is what I saw. I don't want to call anybody out here, but hold on, I'll show you.
Call them out. I didn't sign it. Did you sign it?
No, I did not. I did not sign it. I'm kind of pro make this happen. Maybe if you have some preferences to change some things, okay. But I get that they didn't really.
I get the baseball field. It is a nice baseball field. Obviously, being a sports guy, I mean, I see that. I'm like, all right, that it's like okay. And I understand relocating the skate park and things.
You got to keep the tree. Let's talk about the tree. I feel we were talking about this tree. What are they going to do with this tree? Right? How old is this tree? Older than Boca, right? Boca's 100 years old. I think this tree might be older. I don't know.
I see those Save Boca signs, and I'm picturing we're cutting down the rainforest here.
So
that's what that looks like to me.
Yeah. So for people's benefit, whoever's watching this, first off, they've already determined where they're relocating this to. Likely when they build a new one, it's going to be better. So that's already in process. This is the skate park. What's the name of it? You know it probably.
Tim Huxhold.
Yeah, exactly. So
next to the Boca Pickleball Center. Excuse me.
these are going to be great, right? They're building more parks, they're building more stuff. So like a part of this redevelopment comes like better amenities, in my opinion. So I don't understand the amenity, like throwing the amenities out there, being like, oh, I'm sad about this, because there will be better, is my understanding. Somebody's going to yell at me over this, but
no, but it's like, sorry, I just feel like you don't have a leg to stand on here, because for one, we are both residents of Boca Raton, so it's not like we have no say in this one. And I'm just like, I don't get this, guys. They're trying to move you into the 21st century. You had a good thing going with Meisner Park there in the late 90s. That was a good idea.
The reality is like, it's not that nice, especially for like a Class A boutique city. It's kind of whack.
No, especially with all the new stuff that's going up on the other side of Palm Beach County. I mean, it's like Jupiter, all those developments, Abaco and stuff. I mean, everything is, practically brand spanking new around the ballpark up there. And yeah, it's very nice. And it's like, where's your competitive spirit, man?
Yeah, 100%. And other cities are building very big, nice things, or in the planning to build big, nice things, like Pompano, Del Rey's just executing. I haven't seen too much.
I'm not saying you're going to get outclassed by Boynton, but
Boynton's coming up. Boynton, one day they'll build some stuff there. They got a lot of plans.
Right.
So like, I mean, are you guys upset about these warehouses being removed? I'm just asking, like, for a friend here. Are you upset about the tennis courts being replaced by better ones? Either here or somewhere else in the community. Same with the other park features. I feel like there was going to be a better park setup at the new development part of the project than this. So
based on the renderings, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought it was going to be way better. You could see some of these renderings. So I'm not surprised, but like, look at the Boca Raton City Hall. I mean, hold on. Let's just, you and I have done videos here, and we're like,
I'm familiar.
So it's like, let's see if we can show it. It's like not that cool. This is it. It's a little rundown. They're not really doing a whole bunch of maintenance on it, in my opinion.
There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it.
But at the same time, okay, it's like, so do you just want to do the bare minimum? It's like, I thought you were Boca. I thought you guys were, kind of supposed to be a cut above that.
Yeah, some people say like, oh, when they go to Scottsdale, it's like, oh, Scottsdale's like Boca, but like some of Scottsdale is like really nice, right? Mm-hmm. So we're like, if we don't do this, I feel like we're not keeping up. And if you own property in the area, I feel like you should be on team, get this thing done and get it done fast. You'll enjoy the amenities, and you'll get probably a value push from that.
I mean, it looks fun. It's not going to be like Atlantic Ave. I mean, they're not going to get swarmed by everyone every night. It just looks like there's a few more things to do. It gives you a reason to go around there.
It totally. 100%.
I mean, it's like, if I'm really trying to play devil's advocate here, we talk about all the time the T word when it comes to why they don't want anything, traffic. And there's no question.
Yeah, I get that.
Not having as wider roads, and lanes, it does slow things down at times. That it wasn't necessarily built at the time with the long-term plan, like when you go up to West Palm Beach or something. But it's also a century old. So it's like, well,
I also think, though, location-wise, like, I'm not a traffic expert, whatever, right? But like, if you look at this, you got access to Palmetto and Glades. You have two major highways. Major universities. You got so many things going on. This is like the perfect complement. And frankly, again, just to drive this home, like when you drive east on Palmetto before you hit downtown, this whole area is a little shoddy. It's a little shoddy.
Yeah, it is. Oh, no, and that's being nice.
Yeah, it's just for Boca, it's shoddy. It's not shoddy for
for Boca. It's shoddy. I think that's exactly right. It's like, again, you're Boca. Where is your pride?
So we talked about this before, but I'll bring it up again just to drive this point home. One of the councilmen or whomever we were talking to, I forget what his position was. His whole thing, and this is the point you made earlier, which was he's like, well, better here than in the Everglades, right, where we're destroying like natural preserves, right? Let's let's add density here than there. Let's,
Right.
Not that you have to do one or the other, or any, but this is, to me, makes way more sense. And I'd be more supportive of this than building on the Everglades. And,
Yeah, we're not driving out endangered animals here.
Yeah. You're pretty upset over this. I get it.
It's like, I understand. It's like, some of the gripes, even if I don't agree with it, I understand where they're coming from. This is one of those where it's like, I'm really having a tough time understanding the counterpoint here. Like what's really wrong.
So in conclusion, though, so if you want to know what happens next, cities encouraged feedback. They're taking all that into consideration. So, feel free to submit your petition if you're anti-build this thing, whatever. But on October 28th, City Council vote is scheduled. So we'll see. I'm super curious to see where this goes. My hope is they just, and I'm not like super connected to exactly the details. I know some people are like, feel like they didn't get a fair shake at like giving approval. They're like, hey, the people we voted in are making the decisions and they feel like they should be doing that. But I mean, that's like getting upset about the presidential election and talking about electoral college, right? It's like, this is kind of democracy. So I kind of generally agree, like the public should make the decision. But at the end of the day,
at the same time, these are good things. You know what I mean? It's not like I see them, dragging their feet about stuff. I mean, I told you from the beginning when I first relocated, from West Palm to Boca, and I said one of the things that just stood out to me right away with the community in general, coming from the political side of things, is when something's wrong, I see it fixed almost immediately. How often can you say that about government ever?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just kind of like, I feel like they're one of the few towns that seems to have their together most of the time.
Yeah. Delray, Boca, they seem to be kind of moving things through the pipeline, approving things, being open to new development and ideas.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be upset about that. But things change. And if you've been here for 30, 40 years, it's not what it used to be. There's probably, 30% more humans in Boca than when you started, if that. Or more than that, probably. Yeah. So it just kind of is what it is, and this is going to happen on some level. So that's
and I could understand some things being scaled back. That's already happened at least once, if I remember correctly. Yeah. I mean, it's plans always evolve, but again, it's like just this is not the hill to die on. It just isn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to another.
All right, so what's going on
topic
with tax hacks in 2025? I like the sound of that. What if you could write off thousands on your new property in year one legally and immediately? Apparently, investors just got handed a tax weapon, and most don't even know about it yet. The OBBBA just brought back a 100% bonus depreciation. And Larry, the timing couldn't be better. Were you aware of this?
Yeah, we've actually, me and my my business partner who I invest in property with, we've been talking about buying something to take advantage of this, right? Mm-hmm. Which is super interesting. And this was something that existed before, but slightly differently. And so now it's back because of the big, beautiful bill. So not to get political, whatever, who cares? Right. This is what this bill got passed. And it is now in effect. And so for people who don't know what cost segregation is, advanced depreciation, 100% bonus depreciation, we'll get into it here for a little bit. We've done so many deals like this over the years, especially in 2022. This was a big thing. 2022, 2023, it was highly effective. Why? Because in 2022, the rules were you could get 100% advanced depreciation. Then 23, it dropped to 80% or bonus depreciation. And then it dropped to 60. And then 2025 was supposed to be 40. So it became less interesting. And so what does all this mean? Usually this has been the strike zone from my perspective, who we've worked with. There's other ways to do this, by the way. But we've worked with investors who have a small business maybe, or generate a lot of income, and they're trying to defer or dodge taxes altogether. And so what they've been doing is they've been buying real estate and doing this cost segregation study, which basically is, it breaks down. So you pay someone to do this. And by the way, paying someone to do this might cost you $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy the property. And it breaks down the house on an engineering report into all the little pieces, or the office building or the apartment building or whatever you buy, right? Breaks it down to all the little components. And then it says, this is the total of what can be depreciated. So you buy $1 million building, maybe you get 400 grand. Don't hold me to all these numbers, guys. It depends on the project, right? So maybe you get 400 grand what do I want to say? Maybe you get 400 grand in total out of the $1 million that you can defer in taxes right away. And by defer, I mean, you basically subtract that off of what you made this year, right?
Oh, wow.
So if you made $1 million, or say you made 400 grand, you're not paying any taxes this year. In theory, now there's a whole bunch of qualifications to do this. So let's take this with a grain of salt, what I'm saying. So like, if you're interested in this, it's worth, go watch a YouTube video for an hour, get in the weeds, call some tax guys, right? Yeah. Right. Go to university. We can go into this. We've done a number of videos, like in detail, like grilling guys on this, on how it's done many years ago, when we were doing our like interview sessions. Right. And so you can go find one that we've done. But long story short, now, again, it's 100% depreciation you can get in year one when you buy the property. And that when you do a cost segregation study, plus any investments like any like value add you do. So you put a new kitchen in, gut the whole place. That's also a part of the bonus depreciation strategy, right? So like you can add stuff like that into this, and then you write that off. And so if you do this combined with taking debt, maybe you only spent 100 grand to buy $1 million property, or 250 grand to buy $1 million property. And instead of paying 100 grand in taxes this year, if you made 400 grand or something like that, and you wrote off 400 grand, well, maybe you didn't pay any taxes this year. And now you have an asset earning income. Now, typically what happens when you buy a property is you depreciate that over a linear period. So, well, you have different options, but long story short, you can depreciate it over 27 years, 39 years. It depends in the tax code, right? And again, watch our detailed video on exact numbers and just getting into the weeds on this. But you would otherwise depreciate every year, little by little. Like, okay, this year we're able to write off $10,000 of that purchase, right? And so you do that for 39 years until it's completely depreciated, right? So, long story short, you're able to do that all year one, which is pretty sweet if you're trying to not pay a lump sum of taxes. And so investors have been doing that. Now, okay, so if you kind of understand that, or I at least tickled your brain about like, hey,
it's been tickled, Larry. Don't worry.
You tickling?
I'm tickled.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about doing this, like, again, go dig into it. But what's interesting this time versus last time is there's no step or tier. So like, it's not like 2025 is 100, 2026 is 80% of that cost seg. Now it's just fixed. It's 100%. So, and let's see, it says it here, just to regroup on that. But now, thanks to the big, beautiful bill, 100% bonus depreciation is back, and it's permanent for any qualifying property placed into service after January 20th, 2025. And this was signed into law July 4th, 2025 with the big, beautiful bill. So pretty interesting. We've done a lot of these with investors over the years. And so I suspect this year, for the right investors, this will be a great strategy for them to pick up investment property. So this is you could argue this bill might be a little inflationary, again, because they're incentivizing people to go spend money, to go do things.
That was what I was going to ask you, taking it at face value, what would be the rationale for having an incentive like this included in the one big, beautiful bill? But that makes sense. I mean, it's to try to get people to spend more money. Does it help offset any other, issues that have been going on with the real estate market in theory?
I don't think so. I think there's an argument for why do this at all. Maybe it's not necessary. I think there's people that would argue that. Musk, I think, might be one of those people. The reality is I'm not going to make judgments on why or what, because whatever. We're not like, even the economists don't know what they're talking about. So, right. So like at the end of the day, this is what is in play. If you're playing the game and you're a real estate guy or a business owner and you have a lot of income and you got to pay taxes on stuff, this is a option to consider. And it's a tax strategy that I think is one of the most interesting out of all the things that you could do. Now, here's the caveat. People don't appreciate this. It's not like you just wrote off. So let's use the numbers. You got 400 grand write off, right? Say you wrote that off because you did this thing. And then next year you decide to sell this. Well, you got recapture to pay, depreciation recapture to pay. So this isn't like a
get rich quick scheme, but that wouldn't be accurate.
It's helpful to defer taxes on some level, right? Can you defer them infinitely? Sure, you can. You can do this cost seg study. Then you can 1031 exchange from a single family home into a bigger building one day, and then defer all that tax, all that tax that you would otherwise pay if I say you did it in year 5, right? Well, you got, in this case, if it's a residential property, 27 minus 5, you got 22 years that you already wrote off that you got to pay back. And so if you 1031 exchange, so if you combine this with another tax strategy, 1031 exchange into a like kind asset, another piece of real estate, you can basically infinitely defer taxes beyond death, right? So that's the trick. But once you're in it, you're kind of in it. So this is a strategy for the long term. And so it's not, there's always caveats to everything, right? So it's not perfect. You're not just getting a 400 grand check, right? So, and getting away with it forever. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, no question.
This is something like I've talked to the team about, saying just like, hey, the real estate team that we work on, like, hey, this is something you guys should be aware of and coach buyers who are individuals that that you're working with, and just kind of bring it up and explain this to them. Because as you mentioned earlier, a lot of people have no clue that this is back yet, and they didn't know anything about it before. And even some accountants, or a lot of accountants, are kind of like, oh, this is a little weird. I don't know if I agree with this, right? So, because I don't want to say it's new, but it's on the fringe of things, but this is very legit. Like this isn't like this is legit. You do the right things, you're fine. In my opinion, not tax advice. But right. So I think that's the comment there. So
it's interesting.
Check it out.
All right.
We're excited.
Switching from opportunities to opportunity zones.
This is another tax strategy that came with
this wasn't also part of
It was.
Oh, it was. Okay. So
it's just another Trump thing that he did before that he's pushed through again to renew it on some level, but slightly different again. So maybe they're learning from things. Maybe whatever, who knows? I think they've learned a bit on this one for sure. So I'm sure, do you have any idea what an opportunity zone is, John?
No, I don't.
Yeah. So it's basically the states carve out, or the elected officials carve out areas where they feel could use more investment, right? And so last time around, when they carved these things out, it wasn't perfect. This is the critique on it. It wasn't perfect. There were some areas that didn't need investment. And so immediately, and by didn't need investment, it wasn't like run down, or it wasn't depressed, or right. So that's the goal. Bring investment to neighborhoods and areas that need it. By incentivizing investors to do so, right? And so there's some incentives here we'll talk about in a second. And so long story short, they, when they drew these maps, some little areas got kind of looped in that were like awesome, right? Already like in the path of progress, right where you could like really kill it. And so obviously those investors took advantage of those opportunities, and they bought the land in that little area. And it was just like massive development, and arguably like, did this actually benefit the community? And that in theory is the intended goal. if you believe that, I guess. I know people argue that wasn't the spirit of this. It's for developers to make money, yada, yada, yada. But if you believe the communication, it's, hey, this is to stimulate areas that need help. And so they created these, they drew the lines, and it didn't work out so well. So that was 1.0, right? And so in 1.0, investors, what they could basically do is, if they were selling stock or something and they had a big capital gain they wanted to defer again, they could roll it into one of these opportunity zone funds, right? So and basically you would be able to defer your cap gain. And then what these guys would do again, they might play the game. They might play different games. It all depends. They'll do other tax strategies to keep deferring the exchange, the taxes, right? So they'd go in. So there's these funds, big developers. They'd raise money by finding an area, buy all the land, and say, hey, we're going to build this thing. Let's go raise money. And it was easier to raise money in those areas because, well, you could just move your money in without paying, I don't know, 30%, 10%, 20%, whatever that looked like for your cap gains on your stuff that maybe you're selling stock, maybe you're selling something else. So, and basically investors could defer cap gains until the end of 2026. Didn't matter when you started. It just ended on 2026. And then after that, you had to pay the gains. But the trick was here too, which is pretty interesting. The basis got stepped up. So for anybody who doesn't understand that, it's like, okay, my cost basis, what I bought the stock for, let's just say it's a stock. What I bought the stock for was 400 grand. Let's say $1 million. I bought the stock for $1 million. I made $2 million, right? So now I sold this thing, got my $2 million, right, out of this thing, and I moved it into one of these opportunity zones early on, and I deferred it. And so then while I'm in this opportunity zone thing, it no longer, my basis was what I invested, $1 million, right? So now it got stepped up 10% more, 15% more. So instead of paying taxes on $1 million, I'm really paying taxes on 900 grand. Eventually long term, if the deferring ends, which would be ending at the end of 2026 if you don't do anything else creative, right? So long story short, they got like this step up basis. So another incentive for you to move your money into these funds, again, with the spirit of like, let's redevelop areas that need it. And then they would eliminate
just encouraging people to keep putting money back into
the community, and ideally into a place where like needs it, instead of like Brickell, right? Which like that's fine. Like Brickell's great, right? It's already great. There's going to be a bunch of people building crazy stuff there. Like, why don't we invest in, I don't know, affordable housing in a market, right? So that's like the argument. Let's make an opportunity zone, build affordable housing in these opportunity zones. These are neighborhoods that need it, or areas that need it, so on and so forth. And then at the end of it, all gains are eliminated after 10 years, which is kind of cool. So, and that was phasing out. So now 2.0, like I said, they like drew the lines a little differently, made it a little tighter. They made
I'm looking at some of the stricter census tract qualifications, such as the zones have to have a median income of below 70% of the state or the metro average. So to try to keep, put it into more low income areas.
Exactly. So that's valuable. Like that. So, okay. So maybe we're doing better now. I'm sure we don't know everything about these bills and how it actually works. And so maybe there's other reasons why somebody might disagree with this whole bill altogether. But like, I don't know. This sounds better to me than, it sounds like it has a better social impact, or could have a better social impact than the other one we just talked about, right? Which is just if you're making a bunch of money, you can defer gains, right? Like, that's cool. But this is like, at least the bunch of money you're making is going into areas that could probably benefit from it.
Tidied up a bit.
Yeah. So, okay. So maybe,
I mean, that's it, because, also along the same lines in terms of the, qualifications, that urban areas and gentrification paths may no longer qualify. I know we've talked about before, like I said, when I was in Atlanta, there was a lot of gentrification going on.
So there were spots in West Palm that like we own property and that are a little rougher. And we were like, oh, maybe we'll be in there. Not that it really affected us either way, but it would drive values because again, more money's coming into the neighborhood and we already own the stuff. So it was like, okay, maybe that'll help values. Maybe we sell. Probably not, but maybe we would have if we got offered the number. So again, it'll increase values in those neighborhoods because there's more investment there. But again, like West Palm, there's like certain areas in West Palm where you're like, it's in the path of progress. That's going to get done. So maybe we should work on other things, right? So, anyway, that's a comment overall.
I mean, in theory, just looking at that segment of the One Big Beautiful Bill, again, not being aware of all the other things that are happening with it, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
The intention's good, but isn't it always?
The spirit,
right?
The spirit's good, yeah, or what they say the spirit is.
So as we continue to talk about growth and progress, I guess the question, depending on who you ask about, is downtown Boca Raton growing too fast? Because we also have more than 300 apartments approved for development. There's going to be a 12-story luxury apartment building coming to one of the busiest corners in downtown Boca. Frankly, Madera Boca, I saw some of the renderings. Oh, there it is. 306 new units. You're going to have a public park. And of course, there are going to be people who are very much opposed to it because why not?
I think this should get done, in my opinion. Like this absolutely should get done. It's a good location to do it.
Okay, so this is a little bit south of what we were talking about earlier.
So you're kind of in that little territory or that area where you could argue like there's like some areas as you move south that could use redevelopment or love. And again, I'm talking about this in regards to Boca Raton, not like, I mean, all of Boca is pretty nice in general, but like this could improve. So let's just show you what it looks like from the street view, right? So this is the lot. Boring.
Yeah.
400, the Arbor. So this is what's there now, and they'll put 300 apartments here. It's been approved for development, which is, as you just mentioned, which is kind of interesting. We know the attorney that did this project. She does a lot of them in the area, and I was kind of texting with her earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to get on the phone with her. She suggested I call her before we do this, but we didn't connect.
Oh,
so,
okay. And I was going to say, and I recognize that one just north of there. Okay, this whole weren't they supposed to be doing a whole bunch of stuff right in that square block, or and kind of the couple adjacent ones north and south?
Yeah, there's So where's that lot? Oh gosh, it's no, hold on, it's south. Here, this one. Yeah. So this is a big condo development project that's being sold and negotiated right now. We've been talking to some of the parties involved in that about comps and what they can do with that, and so they got some interesting stuff. I think we wrote an article on that, which is kind of interesting. And then whatever, we'll get to one of the more exciting ones, our favorite here in a second.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, 12 stories, luxury apartment, right? So this is, I think this is great. We could just use more rental space here. It'll help differentiate the market when I know a lot of young people come down here and there's not enough option in my opinion. And this is a pretty good, it's on the fringe, not really. Right, you can easily walk to downtown, but it's in that area where this is great to just redevelop, and it's right off Dixie Highway. I don't think it's a problem traffic wise, but I'm sure a bunch of people.
Right.
And yeah, so that's the scoop there.
Okay, so as we're looking at other townhome communities, we've got other things going on, of course, in other parts of Palm Beach County. Lake Worth Beach is, they seem to be one of the ones that are trying to help solve the housing crisis, if you will. There's a small infill lot just west of Lake Worth Beach that's apparently about to become a big deal. 48 new townhomes, but they're not the kind you're used to seeing. Is this the start of a smarter approach to housing in South Florida? Larry, what's going on with the Hibiscus development and this 48 townhome community?
I got distracted here.
I know. I'm looking at the Hibiscus Gardens. It's a 5-acre site in suburban Palm Beach County. But
it's in Green Acres.
Oh, in Green. Well, yeah, they've been building there.
Yeah, let's Let's see.
Here's the place to be.
Let's make sure this is it. Yeah. The project. Here we go. Does that look like? No, it kind of looks like. We've talked about this, I think, in the past. This kind of looks like, or I read about it, and I'm thinking that kind of looks like the Boynton parcel. That's why I was like distracted. So, right?
Yeah.
Oh, here, let me show you this. I'm not sharing my screen. Right here, right? This kind of exactly looks like the Boynton parcel.
Oh yeah.
That's in up. Everybody's up in arms about redeveloping. Yeah. So
save Nickel Forest.
Yeah, Nickel Forest. Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. 1,500 to 1,800 square feet units designated. Oh, this is interesting. According to Palm Beach County records, workforce housing is defined as affordable housing, usually designated for tenants earning 60 to 140% of the area median income. As of 2024, Palm Beach County's median income was $104,000. That's kind of a big number, right?
Mm.
So this goes back to like when you consider things workforce housing in South Florida, you'd be surprised at the rents that can be charged because of these median incomes. So yeah.
The next topic I'm looking at here. I feel like kind of in the work chat, I didn't know if this was something you guys were discussing. It could be totally unrelated, but I see about, Palm Beach passing laws that crack down on contractors who violate rules. Is that a big deal?
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I already think relative to other states, and rightfully so, Florida in general, especially and the counties are pretty tight or tough on building codes, right? So
they kind of have to be, isn't it? I mean, I think about the notorious fly-by-night roofers and stuff that, can take advantage of people, particularly, older ones. They don't know any better.
And most things are digitized now, which is really good. So like if you're trying to find something like, I don't know, when Wilma hit or pre-2000, it's so 2005 is when Wilma hit, right? And you're trying to find a new roof permit or something like that. Sometimes it's hard to find these when you're looking at real estate, but we're getting kind of beyond that page. Like most roofs are, 25 years old. Some are older than that, but like insurance companies are kind of pushing people to replace anything that's getting close to 25 or over. And so we're kind of getting beyond that, and everything new now is just digitized, recorded, very clear, super streamlined. It's pretty solid. And so like I think overall, I'm going down a rant here, but I think overall, I think it's positive. People get scammed. We hear it all the time, right? People get scammed all the time in South Florida from a construction perspective. It's very hard for the average human that doesn't know much about construction, that needs to do something on their property to, like, especially if it's a bigger project, they usually mess it up. They either mess it up because they're not, and by mess it up, I mean, it's not the right investment for resale, right? And so we always coach, like, if you're going to do something, you should hire a competent designer. You should have your competent designer and your competent realtor kind of duke it out and like kind of say, hey, like this sounds good, that sounds good. So you get everybody's opinion on things. Like that's good for resale, that's not good for resale. And then you can make your own decision. No, I don't care about resale. Okay, fine, do what you do. But like a lot of people think they're making decisions for resale and they're not. And they think they're making good decisions for resale and they're just not. And then we see this all the time. So besides that, like getting a competent designer with your contractor or a contractor that is a designer, I think these things are like so overlooked. So many people think they can do construction work or design work and pick the materials or have their contractor pick the materials. 90% of the time, your contractor knows nothing. They just know about design. They just pick something that they thought was cool when they did the last job, or they had extra material and they said, do this. And that came out really nice. And like, it's usually a mishmash mess. So if you get everybody involved when you're doing a slightly bigger project, it's super important. So, but back to this, I think it's probably generally good to like not let people do things. So like having licensed people is kind of important. It's kind of hard to get your licenses here. It's super hard to get licenses for construction, roofing, electrical, whatever, you name it, HVAC, GC is like super difficult. So, and a lot of people, they say they have their GC license and they're lying. They just, or their BC license, they're just using somebody else's. So this is all the BS that you don't understand if you're not like in the game here. And so, yeah, we're licensed. We're licensed. Okay. What do you mean we're licensed? So.
Interesting. So, I mean, is the advice I'd imagine that you give some of your clients is, hey, if you're working with a contractor, make sure you see the actual license. I mean, it's not just like I picture it, somebody impersonating law enforcement or something and be like, oh, yeah,
Did you see this comment?
That's great.
I don't want shout outs. I really don't. I don't want to be polarizing. I'm trying to avoid that. It is what it is. We're going to do our thing. That's so good. I can only imagine. I can only imagine what that was. I'm super yellow lids. Please share.
All right.
Good. Okay. So the yellow lids said the older man who made the shout out about us.
Well, that's good, right?
Was very likable. Okay. So
be honest, Larry planted him.
He was a plant.
That's how you get publicity.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Did he say, "Hey, feel free to call Larry if you want to sell"?
Right, and for all you, if you're looking to relocate within Boca Raton or anywhere else in South Florida, make sure to reach out to the Mastropieri Group.
That's priceless. That's so priceless. That's good. That's funny.
Oh, geez. Yeah. All right. So, just for anyone who's not aware of these, this Palm Beach County ordinance that's passed, evidently, Palm Beach Town Council. So is this Palm Beach or Palm Beach County? I believe this might actually be just Palm Beach.
Yeah. I'm actually trying to pull up another one that our producer didn't throw on here that I asked her to throw on. I wanted to talk about the foreclosure property in Boca, and I think we'll call it on that. You know which one I'm talking about? Next to the Mandarin Oriental?
Oh, I do know the Mandarin Oriental.
Let's find it. And Grant Cardone is involved.
Right. He had.
Here we go. So let's see if this is. Let's see. I want to see how recent this one is. So there's been some recent news. It looks like Cardone, and so we'll get more info on this for next week. But so okay. So let's just show the location for everybody. I'll pull it up. I got the Boca map here. Here we go. So this is kind of interesting. New development. I was reading this somewhere, but I don't think it's like super out yet, which is why I wanted her to put it on here because I felt like it was breaking news. So 101 via Meisner, luxury apartments, right? In foreclosure. Florida Penn, Florida. I always I always read it backwards. They're building Mandarin next door. They've been having.
They always do it backwards.
Yeah, they've been having a hell of a time, and they also owned this and built this, but they went into a foreclosure circumstance. And Grant Cardone jumped in and said, "I'll pay $230 million for this, but and buy it out." Now, what I'm hearing, which is kind of interesting, is that let's see if this is that he's possibly doing a condo conversion over there, which is like not super common. It was common like pre-Great Recession. They were doing this stuff like crazy, and then selling these condos at big numbers. Mm-hmm. So long story.
What is it right now? I'm confused.
It's a rental. It's a luxury rental apartment.
I see.
So, yep. So he's considering he's JVing or partnering with them. So Cardone would provide the remaining $220 million that will go toward paying creditors, including Blackstone Mortgage Trust, who had a mortgage on this, who was the one that filed foreclosure. That sought a UCC foreclosure against the multifamily property. The trust alleged that Penn Florida failed to repay a $145 million loan on its maturity date. In the event the building units are sold as individual condo sale proceeds will be distributed to the equity investors until total sales hit at least $300 million. So again, they're talking about, this is super interesting. They're talking about, and Cardone, I'm like just jumping in here, just getting it done, like just doing deals. And so arguably this thing's worth more than he paid for it. Number one. Number two, he's kind of leveraging other people's capital to get this done. And so we'll see how this goes, because obviously these are occupied units, people paying I don't know, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, maybe more a month for these to live in these things, right? I just know that some, because again,
Then how the hell did Penn, Florida screw this up?
I think they've just been having problems with the Mandarin, and it's not tied.
Oh, and it's affecting everything. I see.
It's just a mess. I just think they're a mess right now in that little sector. So, all right, let's see. The debtor expects the condo conversion to result in proceeds exceeding $400 million, according to the motion. Accordingly, the debtor expects to receive at least $50 million from the condo conversion on the back end of the deal. Cardone is also working with Penn, Florida, to complete a planned Mandarin Oriental branded hotel adjacent to 101. So he's slipping in, man. This could be super interesting. And he's a South Florida guy. So yeah, Penn, Florida, do something with him and just like, let's knock this out. Let's stop. You clearly need help. You clearly couldn't do it yourself. You had this thing was completed in 2017, and then they started on the Mandarin. Right?
2 years later, and
yeah, but you've had
maybe it'll wrap up before the end of the decade.
Yeah, you guys, and I get you had COVID and it was tough, but guess what? Look around you. How many other buildings were built? They started later than you, and they finished before you, and they're out and done. And so this has been like a complete disaster for these guys. They could have built, sold, and got out before the cycle turned, and now they built and they screwed everything up, and they haven't sold. I
haven't been by it in at least a month. I mean,
they're making moves. They're doing stuff.
They are. Okay.
They're doing stuff. For the record, there's like more stucco in the building every day. There's some windows in. It's happening.
They got windows?
Yeah. So this was so they're like moving. Yeah. So they're doing stuff. They're not moving like nobody has faith in this, right?
Well, no, but I mean, you said windows. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I might have to take a little field trip over there. That's just, I don't believe it.
There's guys over there. There's guys doing work. They're doing stuff. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're calling this one early this evening?
Yeah, let's call it.
Okay. On behalf of Larry Mastropieri, broker owner of the Mastropieri Group, I'm John Laws. Want to thank everyone who tuned in, and we will see you guys next week.
See you guys.